Well, hello friends. Welcome back to the program. Today we're going to work on the Ladybird browser. So this morning I've been working a bit on the Reddit layout and it's starting to look kind of nice. If we bring up the programming subreddit here, you'll see my progress. So I'm starting to resemble Reddit. And if we, let me get Firefox here as well so we can see, this is sort of what we're going for, but as you can see, we're getting there. And I thought I would make a video about the next thing I want to do, which is to get these emblems working. So as you can see, we just have this Unicode replacement glyph or character fallback glyph or whatever it's called for these emblems. And here they show up as nice SVGs or vector fonts or whatever they are. So that's what we're going to do next. And we will just start by, I guess I can show you my typical workflow when I'm working on layout issues. So what I tend to do is I use Firefox and I have this extension here called Save Page WE. Which is particularly good at just creating a single file out of a web page that you have open. And let's see, we got that right here, programming.html. Yeah, and then if I open this up, it should look essentially almost identical to this, I guess. Oh, it has ads actually, while the ads are not visible in the live site. And I should be able to open this with Ladybird as well. Yeah, so here is sort of what we saved from Firefox. And next step is I like to carve out everything that I don't need to work on the specific layout issue I want to dig into. So you can use the Firefox developer tools for that, and just kind of go in here and we'll just like pick out some part of the page that does not is not relevant for these emblems. So I guess like, no, I needed that. Dang it. Okay. There, let's cut all that out. And that. Then we have a bunch of dead script tags down here that we don't need. So we just delete all of those. And the more you can delete, the better, right? Because you're kind of simplifying and reducing to a minimal test case. So all of these things, I don't know what they are, but they are far below the piece of content I care about. I really just care about this little hot new top thing here. In fact, having just one of them like hot or new would be plenty. So let's try to cut everything else out. Let's see, what else can we get rid of? That thing, sure. And stuff that's above, get rid of that. Okay. Now it's starting to get a little more narrow. Okay, that's still fine. We don't need the background. Definitely we can get rid of this sidebar here. Let's find that. So I think it's pretty good. Starting to slim down. Okay, and in fact, I think we can also get rid of all of the other things. Let's only keep one of those. Okay. Yeah, that should be enough for this. If we can just get this thing out. So let's try to save this. Okay, and let's see if Ladybird can load what we just saved. Okay. And can we open that in Firefox? Yes, we can. Okay, so we are on track for a pretty good reduction here. But typically these things are still pretty large. So let's see if we can cut out some more gunk. Yeah, we got a lot of head element children, like link and style stuff. So Firefox, are you dying on me? No, here we go. Okay. Okay. So this is what I typically do is I just delete stuff until something happens and it breaks or it removes the bug that I'm trying to isolate. So there, if I delete the style sheet, it gets rid of the little fire emblems. So I got to keep that style sheet. And then we just keep deleting other stuff. Okay, oh, well, still fine, even though it looks a little different. We still have the emblem. So can we have just that? Okay, we are down to a single style element. That's very promising. Let's try to save this. And then see if we can load that. Oh, did I not call it the right thing? Continue save. Programming 1.2. I see. All right, my bad. Okay, there it is. Okay, so at this point, I think maybe we're ready to leave Firefox, although there's still some div and style down here. Maybe we can get rid of, looks like a CSS variable container. Oh wait, shoot, was I in the wrong thing? I was. Okay. Let's try to prune a couple more empty things here. Okay, I don't see anything more empty. Oh, there's one. Oh, not that one. These, all right. So let's save that. Programming 1.1.1. Okay, I think that'll be our final one. So programming 1.1.1. Let's rename that to r1.html. Okay, and then let's run prettier on it just to nice things up. And then see, oh wait, Ladybird, I have to pass it a file URL. Okay, and Firefox still works in Firefox. Cool. Okay, so now if we open R1, we'll see that it's still 7,500 lines because web content is the way that it is. So let's see, what's this? It's the whole lot of CSS, presumably. Yeah, that's what you usually find when you save modern web pages. It's an unholy amount of CSS. So what I typically like to do is I just like to, let's see, we have 7,000 or so lines. So I usually just try to delete like 1,000 lines, reload. Notice that the thing is gone in Firefox. Okay, so then we don't do that. Maybe this is the web font actually that we want to be using. So I guess we shouldn't get rid of that. So let's start 1,000 lines further down, try to delete here. We're still good. Still doesn't work here. Okay, so 1,000 lines gone. Let's try to delete another 1,000. All right. So this is not the most riveting workflow, but it tends to be pretty effective at sort of paring down or cutting down to a minimal reproduction case. Oh, that was a bit too many. Got rid of the whole file there. Let's try to get rid of the remainder of the style sheet. Okay, okay. Still have the fire here, not here, so it's all good. And some meta tags. Okay, so let's try to get rid of 100 lines. We're good. Let's see. Oh, almost. Don't want to get rid of the style close tag there. All right. All right. Reduction is happening. Okay. Okay. Now we broke it. So something in that last 100 or so was important. Okay. So delete a little bit at a time. Okay, that broke it. So icon hot before sounds very plausibly what we don't want to delete, right? So if we delete that, then it doesn't work. If we leave it in, it works. Or wait, hot fill. Oh, hot fill is the one. Okay, so I guess it's filled in and not filled in versions. Okay, so then can we get rid of all these other icons? I guess, yeah. So these are, I guess, they insert like the right Unicode code point for the icon that we want. Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward to get rid of all these actually. We just need to keep only that one. And where does this stuff start? Starts at 21. So let's just nuke everything from 21 to here. Okay. All right. So our style sheet is down quite a bit. Get rid of irrelevant things. If we get rid of that font face, it breaks. Yep. Okay, that's important. Okay, and we don't have WebKit or Moz OS 10 properties, but font family, yeah, we need that one. Okay. All right, so our style sheet is down to 3 rules, a font face rule and 2 style rules. That's good. Usually it takes longer to clean up the style sheet, but this was actually really simple and isolates the bug nicely. But we still have a big amount of HTML here. So what I then like to do is I like to just try to delete outer containers and see if the page still looks kind of right or if the bug is still visible, because just getting rid of container wrappers and sort of this hierarchy of elements that are not needed to show the bug can be very, very helpful, because it just simplifies the markup and simplifies the layout tree that we have to work with. And we can nuke everything from the bottom. So still good. Can we get rid of this big thing? Whatever that is. Yes, we can, although it's no longer a link, but that's fine. Okay. So we have an I element followed by a span that says hot. Okay, let's get rid of some stuff here. by the way, so the reason I like to remove white space is when we generate the layout tree for web pages, we have to actually honor the white space. So when you do a layout tree dump with Ladybird, you'll see all these little text nodes, and so many of these are just white space between tags and new lines and stuff. And if you get rid of all the white space, then you can actually have a slightly simpler layout tree. Oh wait, I did not reload there. Yeah, so slightly fewer text nodes to worry about. Like here's one, for example, that you'll often see, like an anonymous container. This container here was created only so that it could wrap this white space text node. And when we get rid of all the white space, we don't have that container wrapping a text node in the output. So removing the white space just makes it easier to understand the layout trees because they're less noisy. So, okay. Let's see. What do we do next? So I guess we can see that these class names here are definitely not in our style sheet. So let's get rid of those. Still works. So simplifying a little bit more. Icon and icon hot fill, both of those are here. And we're using the before pseudo element to inject this code point, which is probably fine. So let's see. I guess we can simplify that a tiny bit by just merging those into one. There we go. Still works. And what if this would just be a span instead of I, so that we don't have to look at the italicized version? There we go. And you know, just for a nicer video, let's bring up the size of that thing a little bit. In fact, let's bring up the size of everything. Hot. Okay. So now we have an interesting scenario because we are clearly not loading this web font, I guess. Or maybe we don't support. Well, we do support web fonts. I know that for sure. Like if you open Reddit, you will see that we load some of their fonts. Yeah, you can see the sort of the text changing as we download the Reddit specified fonts. So we do support that. But maybe we don't support Unicode escapes in the content CSS property. I don't know. I guess let's just look it up. So this would be in content. Wait, where would this be actually? Content data. Okay, so content data, property ID content. How do we parse that? Wait, why is C-line angry? Okay. Let's just restart C-line. I don't know what it's upset about. Oh, okay. I was just moving some files around, and I guess I moved around C-line, so that's my bad. Parse content value, right? So what do we support there? Property accept value, blah, blah, blah. Parse CSS. Okay, so arbitrary CSS value. Sure. So I guess it can just be a string, which is what we have here. Parse string value. Okay, so do we support Unicode? What do we call those? Escapes. Escape sequence. Okay. Is valid escape sequence. Well, we probably do. I mean, our CSS parser is not bad by any means. So based on what I'm seeing here, it feels like it should eat up that thing. And oh, in fact, instead of me eyeballing the code, why don't I just look at the layout tree dump? Because that will contain the text. Yeah. See, it's right here. So we did parse it and turn it into F1C7 code point. So that is working right. But we're not displaying it right. Because why? Let's see. Draw text. Draw a glyph or emoji. Maybe we're trying to paint it as an emoji, and then we don't find it in our emoji library or something dumb like that. Let's see. No suitable glyph found. Draw a replacement character. I'd like to see that in font qualified name. I'd like to see what font we're even looking at. Okay, so fail to find a glyph or emoji for this code point in font Katica 10. So it's actually not even looking in the CSS font that they gave us. So we're supposed to be using this thing called Redesign Font 2020. But we are just straight up not loading that. And it's a data URL with font waf blah blah blah. Why wouldn't that work? Let's see, parse. Let's see how we parse these. Parse font face rule. Okay, so font face rule has a bunch of different components. That has the family and then a list of sources, I guess, because we have like multiple URLs here. Okay. So what do? We parse font face rule, looks for font family and source, Unicode range. Okay. So when we parse the source, then we call parse font face source. Okay, and then we check, let's see, what do we do? Parse a comma separated list of component values. So that would be, it's so hard to read here. Let's get rid of these comments. Okay, so this is what it actually looks like. Something like that, right? So it's a list of component values. So we have 4 URLs, although 3 of them are empty. And it's a data font waf thing. Okay, so list of source token lists. What? All right. Skip white space, blah, blah, blah. Oh, looky here. Fix me, allow data URLs for fonts. Okay, that seems highly relevant. So why don't we support that? That's weird. I guess this is the part where we fix the fix me then. So parse URL function. Fix me, handle data URLs. Well, we totally should. So why don't we? So let's see, what do we do here? If it's a URL token, then we just call convert string to URL with the token URL directly. And if it's a function, oh, I see. So if you're using the function syntax like this, but you could also do something like this maybe, which I don't know if that's supposed to be valid. I don't know what a URL token is here actually, but it doesn't matter. We're using the function syntax. So we would be here. And then what we do is we take all the function values, so presumably the arguments or whatever to the URL function, and we look for the first string. So we ignore white space and take the first string, pass that to convert string to URL. Okay. And convert string to URL checks if it's a data URL. Okay, starts with data. Okay. Wait. Oh yeah, we're looking at a string here. So if the string starts with data, case insensitive, then if allowed data URL type is image, then we do, oh, interesting. What's the allowed data URL type? None or image. So it sounds like when we're looking for an image value, we pass in that we're okay with data URLs if they have a MIME type that starts with image. So the pattern matching part of my brain says, let's just do this. So if the MIME type starts with font, then let's tolerate it if you said that you're looking for a font data URL. And let's see, this fix me here seems a bit confused, by the way, because we are handling data URLs, although maybe there should be some different type of handling or additional handling or whatever, but let's see, so who was calling this? Parse URL function. That's being called by parse font face source, right? So here, we'll just pass in allowed data URL type font. Okay. Let's see if that helps. Still no go. All right, so let's see. Let's at least print something out. I guess we can get rid of that fix me, but let's print out that we got the URL here. So got font face source URL to string. I just want to see if we're actually succeeding with it now. Okay, so it feels like we just printed it out here. If I dump the style sheets, we should be able to, yeah, we can see it right here actually. It's a big, big boy. Okay. Yeah, font face rule. So we got the data URL, it's parsed. That's good. But it still doesn't show up though. So what else do we need to do? Maybe we are not loading it then, because just because we parse it doesn't mean that we're going to load it. So let's look at the font face, load fonts from sheet. That's the one. So what does that do? So this is done per document, or style computer is a per document object that figures out the style for each element in the document. And it also has the responsibility of loading any external fonts that the style sheet references, style sheets in that document. So let's see. So what it does here is just iterating over all of the rules in a given sheet and isolating so that we only look at font face rules. So we're only looking at this type of rule, right? And if sources is empty, then continue. If we've loaded fonts contains the font family already, then continue. Right, okay, so this just, if we already loaded the font with that same name, then we don't try to load it again. And then we create a load request. So make a font loader that loads the first source. That is suspicious because we have many sources, although only one is valid. But what if we make that the first source? Then what happens? Then what happens? Okay. Oh. Okay. So it loaded. I see. It looked like it didn't at first. Oh, it didn't. Wait, what did I do? Did I reset? Okay. So it only loads after I resize. That's a bit weird. I guess because when we do the first layout, we don't have the font yet. And then we don't, even though I'm repainting, we don't actually we don't fetch the font until the next layout. That's weird. So we got some invalidation bug there. Okay. So let's see. I guess what we should do in a situation like this. So the obvious thing here, of course, is to ignore empty ones. But I guess the ideal behavior would be something like try them in the order that they're specified. And like if first one doesn't load, try the second one, or maybe it's that like based on whether we think we're able to parse this kind of font or whatever. But let's go for the simple approach first. So I guess we can make something like this, like first valid family, or no, first valid URL, let's call it. ACURL. Okay, and then for auto source in font face sources, if source.url is empty, is valid. So if it's not valid, then ignore it. Okay. Otherwise, first valid URL is source URL and break. And then if first valid URL has value not, then we can't load this font actually because we don't have a single valid source URL. But if we do, then we can load it down here. So something like that. And with that, we should be able to load, even though we have a bogus one in front if we resize. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So that's good. That's progress. Let's see. So we got a couple of things here. Let's do some commits before I lose track of what I'm doing. Also, I think we can get rid of that debug statement in the painter code. Yeah, we don't need to see that. Okay, let's do the parser changes. So we will allow data URLs when parsing font face source. Allow data font data URLs with font mime type when in font face CSS rules. Yes, that is step one. Okay, and then I mean, this is like a little bit janky, but let's say fix me. Find out exactly how exactly which resources we need to load and how. Or let's say this is a bit ad hoc and janky. We just look for the first valid source URL and try loading that. Yeah, we can say something like this, right? I think that's okay. All right, so given that, can we get, I wonder if, does Reddit work now? Assuming that I resize the page. Because that would be nice. No cool emblems. Okay, it's not working. All right. Not home free just quite yet. So what are we doing wrong? I guess let's figure out that invalidation thing actually, because that was irritating. So why do I have to resize? Let's see what happens when Style Computer finishes downloading the font. So in order to load the font, we create this object called a font loader, which is a simple resource client. And in libweb, there's this concept of resources. So if you want to load some external file, then you create a resource and make that URL the resource URL, and grossly simplified, but basically you make a resource for the given URL you're interested in, and then you can create something that inherits from resource client, and then by attaching the resource client to the resource, you can get information when that resource finished loading, failed loading, stuff like that. And that's what we do here. So we create a font loader, which is a resource client, and it will be notified when the font resource loading finishes. So we'll get called here resource did load. Let's say XSX resource did load. We can even say font did load. And let's say here font did fail. So let's see if we're actually getting these. Because maybe we're getting them later. Font did load. Okay, so wait. So even now the font has loaded, but we didn't update. Okay, so what do we do when the font loads? We try to load it. I mean, that's like try to parse it essentially. Maybe load shouldn't be load here, but parse, or I don't know. The word load is a bit overloaded here. But eventually, after we succeed in parsing the font, we tell the style computer that we did load font, and then it will invalidate the style of the document. Okay, so here, did load font invalidating style. So this is the part where I'm surprised that we get a stale appearance. Yeah, because does invalidating style not? If we invalidate the style, I would expect everything to get updated. But maybe invalidate style is not smart enough to notice. I guess, so what invalidate style does is basically it tells the engine that it has to re-evaluate all of the CSS rules for all of the elements in the document and see if any new rules apply or any of the old rules no longer apply. And then based on the delta there, or the difference between what applies and what doesn't, or what used to apply and what applies now, we figure out, okay, like, so do we need to relay out? Do we need to repaint the page? What do we need to do? But I don't think that algorithm is smart enough to realize that, because none of the rules that apply have actually changed. It's just that the font has loaded. Previously was not loaded, but so style invalidation is not really the right mechanism here. I guess what we really want to do is invalidate layout, which makes sense because that's ultimately what we have to do anyway, is relay out the page, because you get a new font, it might have new metrics, so the content might shift around, which is pretty ugly when that happens on the web, but it's a thing that happens, right? Like, you know, you're loading a website and it uses some of your system font originally and then swaps those out for a web font, and content shifts around due to the difference in font metrics. Okay, so we're still not working, although now I only need to move the cursor over for it to repaint. Okay. Something with our invalidation logic is not working right. So invalidate layout does what exactly? It tears down the layout tree. TSure. So it tears it down, and then what? And then I guess then what happens is that when I move the cursor over, then there's no layout tree, so it's forced to build one. And at the end of layout tree construction, we say like, oh, we have a totally new layout tree, we better paint it. So then we decide to paint. But when we call invalidate layout here, nobody takes responsibility for actually updating the layout. And you can see here we have force layout, which calls update layout synchronously, but that's not really what we want to do in most cases. What we want to do is we want to do a schedule layout update, which means that we will lay out at the next convenient time. And there's a big performance difference, right? Because if you do update layout, that means that you will do all the layout work right now, and then maybe you'll do something else that invalidates the layout again, and then all of that work was wasted. By using schedule layout update, we're able to coalesce multiple what would otherwise be multiple layouts, and we can coalesce them using the event loop. So if we just do that here, and then it works. Yes. Okay, so that's really good actually, because that sort of thing is always good to fix. Do I have a terminal in the right directory somewhere? Seems like I don't. Let me get rid of some gunk here. Okay, so I guess let me do two different commits. So this one, when we invalidate the layout, I want to schedule a layout update. Schedule a layout update in document invalidate layout. Somebody, otherwise, nothing will update until someone else decides to trigger an update. Nothing will repaint. Otherwise, nothing will repaint. Yeah. Okay, and then did load font. Let's change that to call invalidate layout instead of invalidate style. Invalidate layout after when CSS fonts, whenever a CSS font finishes loading or is loaded. It's not enough to invalidate only the style. We have to do a full layout invalidation, since new fonts might mean new metrics, etc. Yeah. Okay, and then this, I still don't feel confident about this URL change thing. So let's see. So it still didn't work on Reddit, or was that temporary? Did I fix it somehow? I don't think I did. No, that's still not working. All right. But the simplified test case that I made is working, right? So this is working, but the, let's see, these goofy things that I downloaded, oh, they're still broken. Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay, so I guess I simplified it too much somehow. And we're just gonna repeat the process, because I don't know what it did wrong there. Let's see. So we'll make a copy of this one because the names are super awkward. So we call this R2. And oh, wait, what? Wait, what was it mad about? Line 525, is that it? That's weird. I feel like I messed up this file somehow. Oh, shoot. Okay, let's try that again. Let me just do a new resave of this thing here. So resave. It's now called programming 1.3. Sure. 1.3. Okay, why don't you like it? That's really strange. So line 164. I don't know why Prettier is not tolerating it anymore. Let me try to just save it like this instead. Okay, that's really weird. Okay, maybe, okay, let's just try a different approach. I don't know why Prettier is choking so much. Maybe I can take out this style sheet here verbatim. What if I just yoink that? because that's the one that has the redesign icon font, whatever thing. And let's just put that into our R1 file. Okay. And let's see. Right. And then we get rid of the one that I made. Would that be enough to still have the bug, I wonder? R1.html. I broke the bug. Okay, let's see. What if I keep that stuff? Okay, so we're still loading the font in Firefox. But did we break our own browser? We did. That's great. Okay. So something in the original formatting of this style sheet is not good enough for Ladybird. All right. Let's figure out what. So same thing again. We're just going to reduce. So start by getting rid of these nonsense attributes. Check that it still works, still fails rather. Okay, we'll put that on a line of its own. Okay, so let's just make this a little bit more reasonable here. And oh goodness, we have all these icon rules. Do we still need those? Okay, so now it works. Okay, so what if I bring the icon rules back? Still works. Okay. Just backtracking here until something breaks. Nothing breaks. Oh shoot! I think after we succeed at loading the font, it will be cached. So I have to restart the browser. If I get it working, then I have to restart the browser to make it fail again. Okay, so here it works. Okay, so if we backtrack, here it works. Okay, backtrack. I'm just pressing the undo button. Here it doesn't work. Okay. What the frick? Okay, so put a new line at the start of the style sheet. Doesn't load. Put a single piece of white space after font face, and it works. Okay. What? So a single piece of white space is required after font face, or we will not load the font. That is definitely not correct. All right, let's figure out why that is happening. So this should not work, right? Yeah, right. So let's see, parse font face rule, I guess. Or wait, no, now we're already inside of the rule. So who called this? Convert to rule. Okay, so if it's an @ rule, which this is definitely an @ rule because it starts with the @ sign. So let's see, has ignored vendor prefix, blah, blah, blah. If the @ rule name is font face, that's us. And then we have some condition where the rule is malformed. Let's see if that's behind a debug flag. Let's just turn that printout on here to see if we are considering the rule to be malformed for some reason. We are. Why on earth do we consider that to be malformed? So we consider it malformed if the prelude is empty, if there's no block, or if the block is not curly. Let's see. So I assume that the block is whatever follows here, right? So you can have a curly, paren, or square block. Sure. Prelude sounds relevant. What is a prelude in a CSS context? CSS syntax spec. Prelude. A qualified rule starts with a prelude, then has a curly wrapped block containing a sequence of declarations. Sure. Prelude, prelude, prelude. Once an at rule starts, nothing is invalid. It's all part of the at rule's prelude. So once an at rule starts, nothing is invalid. It's all part of the prelude. But we don't tolerate empty preludes. That's kind of weird. Let's see, an at rule has a name, a prelude consisting of a list of component values, and an optional block consisting of a simple curly block. So it feels to me like this check here is just bogus. Like, why would we not tolerate an empty prelude? And I'm guessing that, like, it's kind of weird because this is considered non-empty, even though it's just white space. But I'm guessing that we preserve white space tokens in the CSS parser for whatever reason. I don't recall. But even so, an empty prelude is still valid, I think. Like that seems really like a wrong rule to me. So let's just nuke that. Well, actually, let's backtrack here so that we don't have that. Because I think we still have a block, but the prelude is... Let's see if that helps. Okay, so that fixes that. Great. Can we see them on Reddit finally? We cannot. All right. Why though? Why though? That's so weird. All right, just one thing at a time. Let's just do a commit. Okay, so libweb allow empty prelude allow CSS at rules. I don't see any indication in the spec that an empty prelude should be disallowed. This fixes rules like font face. Note the absence of white space after font face, or before the open curly. All right. So, okay, maybe we are. Let's see. So maybe this extension that I use in Firefox to save the page, I guess it's turning these things into data URLs because they are HTTPS URLs here. So maybe we're just failing to load these resources or whatever. So maybe we are failing when doing the live site. Resource did load. Let's print here debug line. Resource did load. Okay, font resource did fail. Can we get some? Oh my goodness, it's a lot of feedback here. Did we get anything? We got nothing. We got nothing. Oh, wait, I never rebuilt. That's my bad. All right, let's have a look. Okay, search. Font resource did load. So we are loading fonts. but we're still not using them. Why? Let's see, XXX font resource could not be parsed. Maybe we can we get the URL here? Yes, we can. Could not be parsed. Okay. So we cannot parse these fonts when we're getting them. When we're getting them from Reddit, then we can't parse them. That's so weird. Redesign icon 2020, redesign font, blah, blah, blah. .eot. What's EOT? What is EOT? Embedded OpenType. Wait, what? A compact form of OpenType fonts designed by Microsoft. They are supported only by IE as opposed to competing WAV files. Say what? So, why are we loading that? Oh, maybe it's just first in the list. Or like it's the first, wait. Shoot, where can I see that? Oh, So it has comments showing the fonts here. So, okay, so the first in the list is .eot, which the saving extension just turned into empty URL. And the second in the list is a .wav. And we like that one. We want a .wav. Oh, shoot. Huh. So we need to be smarter about this. So one thing we could do, like what we could do, which would be very inefficient, is we could download the EOT, notice that it fails to parse, and then move on to the next one. But we could also just reject it based on the extension, which is a little bit like, but at the same time, seems vaguely reasonable to me. So let's see. Can we know what the format is, by the way? Like there's syntax for that, right? So let's see. I think we have that information. If we dump out, let's see, if we dump out the style sheets using the debug menu, let's see what it says. Dump style sheets, font face. Font face? Redesign font 2020. Okay. Okay, so here's the font face rule. It says redesign font 2020 is the family, and then we have these sources. So this is what we parsed. So they're telling us an EOT, a WAF, a TTF, and an SVG. And we can handle WAF and TTF, but the other two we cannot. So I'm thinking, what if we just look at the extension? So if source .url let's say path is source URL path. If path ends with WAF, case sensitivity, case insensitive. I guess we can tolerate insensitive. Oh, do I have to make that a string view maybe? Yes, I do. Okay, so if path ends with WAF or TTF, then let's say if it does not end with that or that, then continue. Fix me. This is a bit, let's just say this is rather ad hoc. WAF or TTF file. Yeah, so let's call this candidate URL. Okay, so now we should reject anything that's not WAF and TTF. WAF. Can we? Yeah, we can also load .font. That's the Serenity format, but we don't need to load those over the web. Oh, look, it works. Aha. That's pretty cool. Oh, all right. Wow, that's awesome. We got the upvote and downvote arrows showing up now too. So I can actually go here and upvote and downvote things, I suppose. This is really cool. Ah, we're getting there. Resize performance is not great, but you know, nothing was built in a day. This is great progress, although it's pretty hackish, but I'm fine with hackish since it brings us new functionality that we did not previously have. So let's see. Let's see. Let's get rid of the silly print statements. Okay. Yeah, at this point, I'm okay with it. Like we should figure out longer term, like what's the good strategy for this? Like what's the more correct or consistent with other browsers? But as a first version of just like supporting multiple source URLs and calling out things that we know we can't load, I think this is okay. Be slightly better at font face rules with multiple sources. We now ignore this patch improves font face loading when there are multiple src values in two ways. Empty or invalid URLs, invalid/empty, I guess, are ignored. Font formats that, or extensions, fonts with unsupported, fonts that look like unsupported format, that appear to have fonts with unsupported file extensions are ignored. This makes us load the emblem font on modern Reddit, which is a pretty neat. Load and display. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think this is okay for now. I'm okay with it. So let me just see that we didn't break ACID 3 or something. It's okay. It's all right. Actually, this little red here, that is supposed to be a web font that gets loaded, but for whatever reason that I haven't looked into yet, we are loading the ACID 3 font from the server, but our font parser is rejecting it. I looked at that earlier today. I need to dig into what's actually happening, but it's like downloading the font and saying, this is not a valid font. It has like, it tries to do some out of bounds access and it gets rejected by some security check, which is weird, but I didn't break it now. And it looks like we're good otherwise. So cool, very cool. Let's go to the Reddit front page, see how that looks. It is very nifty that these things are showing up. Nice little set of fixes. So, I mean, obviously there's still a lot more things that need fixing. Layout is far from perfect, but we are making very good progress. In fact, the reason that I started looking into this today was because I posted a screenshot of Reddit yesterday, or the day before yesterday, when I shared this blog post about Ladybird. I had a little screenshot here at the bottom just to showcase sort of like, oh, you know, if you try Ladybird, you're going to see broken layouts all over the web. And here's a screenshot of Reddit looking kind of broken. And this morning I was like, I'm just going to try to make it look better, just a little bit. And we are definitely looking a little bit better. So I guess we can do a side by side here of where we are today compared to 2 days ago. So lots of improvements. And now we also have the emblems. So sweet. This SVG up here looking a bit sad though. Anyway, this is going to be the end of today's video. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for hanging out. I hope that you saw something interesting here today. I'm very pleased with the progress, and also I have to say I'm very happy with all the positive response to my post about Ladybird. If you didn't see that, by the way, I will put a link to it in the video description. But it's basically just me announcing that I'm gonna take this even more seriously. So yeah, end of the video. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all next time. Bye.